It's Monday, November 23rd, 2020. I'm Greg Nibbler, and this is Chewbox Live. That was awesome. Hello, everyone. This is Chewbox Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is a brand new show, and thank you all for joining us wherever you are. I want you to hit subscribe on all of our social media platforms that you get the notifications when we go live. And this show is all about technology, culture, and entertainment, the convergence of all of those into one, bringing you live all kinds of different things between its news, segments, interviews, a lot of stuff. But we always start the show off with some tech news. Let's go and do that right now. Let's talk about social media, in particular, TikTok. Yes, TikTok, always something that we are talking about because you can't avoid it. And now Snapchat is the latest social media platform trying to get a piece of that sweet, sweet TikTok action. So they have a new feature. It's called Spotlight. And the plan is to lure you in by paying out $1 million a day to creators for posting. So they tout 249 million daily users, by the way, on Snapchat. And Spotlight will allow you to post 60-second vertical videos, if that sounds familiar, with the caveat being that they must follow the Snapchat community guidelines. The success of that algorithm is the key issue they want you to focus on when using their service, and that's what they wanted to highlight. So they say they can deliver relative content to each individual user by measuring what they like, what they don't like, and that's all something that we hear from every social media platform. The pay side is what they're offering users to try to get you in the door. So they said that if you get a number of unique users more than other Snapchat users using Spotlight, you could get part of that money. So it's all going to be about the views. They didn't say exactly how they're going to do that, but basically, if you have something go viral, you could make some money on that. So that's, again, $1 million a day they're planning to do through the end of 2020. So they're definitely putting some money in this. I think whether it's Instagram with Reels or Facebook with Stories or Twitter with Fleet, which I still don't really like that name, but nonetheless, that is all these different social media platforms trying to get into that TikTok action just because of the fact that it's huge. There are hundreds of millions of users with it every single day, and all these platforms want to get involved. So this is the latest one from Snapchat. It's called Spotlight. Is it going to be successful? Well, it depends how many people actually try it out, but when you have money on the line, it's probably going to do pretty well. All right, continuing on here with some trending news. Have you ever worried about somebody hacking into your key fob and stealing your vehicle? Of course you have. It's something we probably all have, at least I have, because I'm paranoid about that kind of thing. And now I've got more reason to be paranoid, although I don't own a Tesla. But that's what happened. There's a researcher from Belgium who was able to do just that with a Tesla. Now, Wired came out with a whole article about this. It's talking about the Tesla Model X, and this person was able to hack it within 90 seconds and actually drove away with the car. So the security researcher's name is Lennart Routers, and he's from KU Leuven. I'm probably saying that not wrong. It's a university in Belgium. But here's how they did it. They hacked into the key fob that somebody had using a Bluetooth connection, and they were able to swipe the unlock code from that particular device and gain access to the vehicle. So a couple of things they had to do first. Number one, they had to get the vehicle identification code. So that's something that's put on pretty much every vehicle, usually on the dashboard. When you go out to check on your car, if you didn't know you had it there, it is there. It's a unique code for that. So first, he had to get that. So he had to go take a look inside the windshield. Then, all he had to do was be within 15 feet of the person with the actual key fob for that vehicle. What he has is, this is the proprietary part. So he created this $300 hardware invention that fits in a backpack. And with that, he can operate it with a smartphone. He gets within 15 feet. He can hack into that key fob and have it generate a unique code that will unlock the vehicle. After that, he connects that to the key fob that he has. That's kind of a replica, goes over, unlocks the car, is able to start it up, and drove off. So Tesla said they're going to be releasing a software update for this. He did inform them of it. He also didn't release all the pertinent details about how it works, but nonetheless, just the fact that he was able to do it is certainly a cause for concern. So if you have a Tesla Model X, number one, congrats, that's good for you. But number two, don't stand within 14 feet of somebody for maybe 89 seconds if they seem a little bit weird and are staring at their phone looking at you, because you could be getting hacked. But that's something that did happen. We'll see if they can roll out the updates quick. They did say it could take up to a month for all of these vehicles to be getting that, but at least Tesla can update it without somebody having to go into the store. So that is where we're at with that. Your Tesla Model X could be in danger. Just be careful out there. Continuing on here with our trending news, SpaceX is about to set another record. It feels like every week they set a record. It was just, a month ago, they did their 100th launch of the Falcon 9 rocket. Well, now they're going to be reusing one for the 7th time as they send up yet more Starlink satellites. So this was originally scheduled for Sunday, November 22nd. It got pushed to Monday. Now it's going to be on Tuesday. This is all because of weather. That's something that's not that unfamiliar, as they have to change these things up. But with this one, there is that unique part of it that they are planning to use it for the 7th time. So this booster was previously used for 4 different Starlink missions, a couple of telecom satellite launches, and now going back to Starlink. It's going to launch from Florida, then they'll attempt to land it in the Atlantic on a drone ship that'll be waiting for it, which is always cool to see. They always have amazing video with these things, so looking forward to that. Now, with the payload, let's talk about the Starlink program for a minute. So this is going to be the 16th launch for Starlink satellites, and they're sending 60 more up at this point. So they've got hundreds of them up there. But the goal of Starlink is to essentially to encompass the globe in satellites to provide access to broadband internet wherever you are. They have clearance for up to, I think it's 30,000 of these things that could end up being up there. Right now, there's only a few hundred, and beta testing, though, has already begun in North America. So there's a number of people that tried out for the service. You had to sign up for it. Then they sent you an email saying that, hey, you could do it. I tried it. I didn't get it. But there's a couple of caveats that come with this as well. So when you're talking about it, you have to, for the beta testers, they have to pay $499, and that is to get the actual box that you're going to be using. So even a beta test, you got to pay $499. Then it's $99 a month for the service. Part of this, though, the good thing about it is that you would be able to use this anywhere. And right now, that's North America, so pretty much anywhere there. Eventually, globally, remember that. Tesla has touted speeds up to 100 megabytes per second, and actually, reports have been even better than that. There are some people saying they had 160 megabytes per second, which is faster than a lot of people do get regular internet. And on top of that, they were saying they could stream 4K video, so some pretty good positive signs coming from this. And if you think about it, that is a big deal. There are so many people that don't have access to broadband internet, and that's a big concern. If you're at a huge disadvantage, if you're somebody who lives in a rural area or you just can't afford the service. Think about how many different ways economically you could be impacted, or let alone when it comes to the education system, especially right now when everybody is working from home, there's a pandemic, education's all online, that kind of thing is very important. So even though this is a little bit pricey to start off with, it's not that bad. And the idea is the more of these satellites they get up, the cheaper it's going to be, the more people will have access. It's a good thing. So this is, again, the 16th launch for these satellites for Starlink that they're going to send up. Always cool to see them when they deploy them out there. There's some issues, of course, with people being upset about how that's going to affect stargazing. So there are concerns with it, but nonetheless, SpaceX doing it yet again. So hopefully they'll be able to land that. That'll be the 7th time with that Falcon 9 rocket, but follow along and definitely you won't want to miss that. Scheduled right now for Tuesday evening Pacific time. That could change, but nonetheless, pretty cool. All right, a couple more here trending stories to talk about. Let's talk about facial recognition. And I'm not going to go into all the ways that it's bad, because there's a lot of ways that facial recognition has failed, whether it's misidentifying people, particularly maybe people of color. It's also received a big backlash about the use from police agencies and government agencies and how they've utilized it. So much so that even Amazon has stopped their research on it. Intel has slowed down their research on it, if not stopped it completely actually right now, until we can work out some of the issues with how it's trained. But there is a way that I think we can all universally agree that's pretty good, and that is using it for bear identification. And that is what I'm talking about. It's something called Bear ID. And this is actually a program that was created by a bear biologist, which is one of the coolest titles I think anybody could ever have. Her name is Melanie Chapman, bear biologist. And she teamed up with a couple of tech workers from California, so Ed Miller and Mary Wynn. It's through a program where they actually team people who work in the sciences with tech people to see if they can solve problems. So Ed and Mary are machine learning experts who also happen to be big fans of the bear cams at Brooks River in Katmai National Park in Alaska. If you're not familiar with that, you're probably familiar with the Fat Bear competition, which goes on every year, where they identify the bears who are coming down there to this river to eat salmon and fatten up for the winter. It's seriously, if you haven't watched it, go watch some of the videos online. It's amazing. So the three of them came up with this thing called Bear ID as a better way to track and identify bears in the wild. I mean, let's be honest, they're kind of dangerous to get near. So this is a good way to do it. And they're also sometimes hard to identify. They're bears. Sometimes they look alike. So this wouldn't require anybody catching one or sedating one or putting a tracker on them. You use cameras that are already available. So some of the advantages, you can tell the difference between bears like Toffee or Otis or Holly or Janet. These are actual bear names from the Fat Bear competition. But why else would you want to know the face of a bear other than to seeing how much they can eat? Well, they're still developing that. But a big advantage would be for research to identify year-over-year changes in the animals, since they usually come back to the same feeding spots or they live in those same areas. You could also identify problem bears. Chapman focuses on a river in British Columbia, in particular for her side of things. They did Brooks River and British Columbia. But if there's a bear that's, say, been getting into the trash or getting into farmers' property, maybe eating some animals there, they could identify it. They could say, hey, we tracked the trail cam. We're pretty sure that's Gary that's been getting into your farm. Gary ate your cattle. We need to remove Gary and shoo him away from this area, whatever they want to call him. But it's a pretty cool use case of this and pretty sophisticated use of the technology. Now, they've also spun this into something called Cattle ID. So that's to help out other ranchers and farmers to where they can identify their own cattle, maybe instead of branding them. There's researchers wanting to use this for primate research or even endangered animals, just to uniquely identify these creatures. And part of that is because we have access to so many cameras right now. There's a lot of nature photographers and videographers who are uploading their data online. If they can cross-reference all that, who knows what they'd be able to discover with it. It's still at the beginning, but pretty cool use of facial recognition software. I think, again, we can all agree, identifying bears is fun. Otis is still the best fat bear. All right, one more thing here for you to think about. If you are one of those people who holds on to your toys or your games and keeps them in mint condition and holds on to them for years without ever opening them or having fun with them, well, maybe it'll finally pay off for you, because here is what happened. We have the world's most expensive video game being sold at auction. So this is over the weekend. It was a Super Mario Brothers version, Super Mario Brothers 3, sold at auction for $156,000. So that's how much someone paid for a copy of a game that was made in 1988 and never opened. So the copy was sold by Heritage Auctions, and there are a couple of reasons in particular this one was rated so highly. It's something I wanted to know about, like why would someone pay that much? Well, here's the reasoning, I guess, for it. One was that the box had a WATA rating of 9.2A+. Now, what is a WATA rating? W-A-T-A. You're probably asking yourself that. I did too. It's an industry standard grading system for retro video games. So this group actually set it up because they realized there wasn't one, and so they created it from scratch. So it's based on a 10 is for the highest quality in the category. It could be opened, unopened. They got a few different ways to grade that. This one obviously very high. It was unopened. And then you also get a grading based on the integrity of it. So this one was unique because of the spacing of the printed brothers on the box was apparently offset. So that was something unique. They corrected that at some point, and then also that the box itself was in good condition. So again, $156,000. The previous record was earlier this year when Super Mario Brothers, the original, sold for $114,000 at auction. So the bottom line, I think, is this: if you have a Super Mario Brothers game in mint condition that you didn't open, A, why, but B, could be worth some money. So take a look, see if you've got it there, see what your WATA rating is, and maybe you could cash in on this. Although I'll tell you this, Super Mario Brothers 2 is still the best Super Mario Brothers game. That's not something anybody can dispute. So that's a fact. All right, there we go. There is your news to start this show off. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back because the holidays are coming up, and Thanksgiving in particular is going to be a little bit different this year, right? We're all going to be remote. Well, I've got some tips that maybe you can help out, whether you want to or not, to make sure that it goes smoothly, even if it's virtual. That's coming up next. Stick around, back in a minute with more Two Box Live. Yes, indeed. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is 2Box Live. Follow 2Box Media on whatever social media platform you are on. Follow along. We'll let you know when we're live. We got all kinds of videos, a lot of stuff for you to enjoy as we launch this show and get everything going. But right now, I want to talk about the holidays. Yes, Thanksgiving is on the way, and it's certainly going to be different this year because of the fact that we are all going to be remote. And with that, it doesn't mean that you don't have to still talk to your relatives. I mean, if you don't want to, probably the perfect opportunity for you. But a lot of us still want to do that, still want to have that connection. And it's in a way, it's not that bad. So here's where we're at. I'm just seeing Greg's Grams. That is apparently the name of this segment. So Greg's Grams, and I want to talk about that because your grandma needs your help. So that is what we're going to be discussing right now. If you're watching this, you may, in fact, be the tech expert in your family because, well, you know how to get online and watch this show. Congratulations. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. But also, I'm going to guess you've utilized virtual meeting software quite a bit over the last several months in this pandemic. A lot of people have become experts, but there's still a lot of those family members who are not. So since you are the tech expert, let me tell you right now, to save yourself a headache, it's probably better to start planning this out now. You are going to be the one who has to organize this group family meeting online. And there's a few tips and tricks I want to give you that will maybe help you out and avoid some of those IT headaches for the big day. Number one, start reaching out to your relatives. Find out what platform they're using. This is going to be a big issue. Now, if you have a family who is very much into using Apple products, well, most of them probably have been using FaceTime. It's a very simple one, easy to use. Obviously, for Apple users, that's big. But what if, Aunt Nellie doesn't use that? She's on a PC or an Android phone. Well, then Aunt Nellie's going to be really mad because she's not included. So you need to figure that out and find a universal platform. Now, you also have Google Duo, which is another one that does work well for any platform, but a lot of people haven't been utilizing that. You do have to set up a Gmail account. So maybe there's people who aren't doing that one. The one I would recommend is this, and it's Zoom. Quite honestly, they have the best cross-platform situation figured out when it comes to these online meetings. You can schedule it. Now, since you're the tech expert, you got to set this up. You've got to schedule out when these meetings are going to be going. And when you do that, then you're going to be able to send out an invite to everybody. You want to do it now. You want to do it early. Don't do it the day of, because you're probably going to have to walk some people through how to download it, how to sign up for an account. It's not that complicated, clearly. We've been doing it for a long time, but that is something that you are going to want to get ahead of. So send out the mass email, give out the calls, send the texts, let everybody know. Say this is going to be the best way to do this. Walk them through, maybe even create your own instructions that you know that will be tailored to them on how to get this downloaded, and be prepared for those phone calls for IT help, because you may have to do that. But then once you're done, you can still have that connection. You can still have that family group meeting. I mean, the great part is, say you have, Uncle Benny who's saying things you don't want to hear, or maybe he gets political every time. He has a few scotches. You can just hit mute, and then you don't have to listen to him. Nobody does. But I'm going to guess Uncle Benny will have no idea he's muted. So it's kind of the best of all worlds when it comes down to that. But you are going to have to be that person. So there you go. That's setting up the Thanksgiving dinner itself. There's all the other things that you can do after that too. If you really want to play a game, you could download Monopoly on your phone. Have the Zoom meeting. You can all play that together. It's a mobile game. I've done it. I did it at the beginning of the pandemic in quarantine. And actually, it's kind of fun. So you've got that. You've got Netflix party. You can watch a movie together. You got all kinds of different things that you can do in the post side of things. And then there's the hanging out with friends afterwards, something that a lot of people do for Thanksgiving too. Then with family, go out, go have some drinks with friends. Obviously, we can't do that either, but you can still do that socially and mobily with a bunch of different apps that can help you out with that. So, let's get drunk and stare at our computers. That's pretty much what I'm saying, is what's probably going to be happening for a lot of people, but there's a lot of options for you out there. The key thing of all this, plan ahead, get it done now, work on that, and make sure that you contact all the relatives, because you, whether you like it or not, you're the tech expert for Thanksgiving this year. So sorry, fell on you. Best to just handle it now and not deal with it on Thanksgiving Day. All right, that is what we have for today. Again, this is 2Box Live. This is the name of this show. It's brought to you by 2Box Media, and I thank everybody for following along with us. We've got a website. It's called 2boxmedia.com. Please go there. check that out. Follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on all those different locations. And if you go there, hit subscribe. You'll get notifications when we go live. We're going to be posting videos. We're going to be sharing all kinds of things on there. And we're really, really excited about this show. It's been a lot of work to get this together. And I'm Greg Nibler, and along with Mike Solis and Jess Serba, we thank you for finding us. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being a part of this. This is going to be fun. This is just the beginning. So thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next time with more 2 Box Live.